Welcome to the Revenue Marketing Report powered by CaliberMind. Our goal here is to help B2B marketers learn the skills they need to succeed in leadership. I'm your host, Kamala Thompson, and I am thrilled that Andy decided to come back for day 3 to talk about what B2B websites get wrong. Andy, thanks for coming back.
Glad to be here, and I love this topic.
I do too, although I might be a little feisty because I've been reviewing a lot of websites lately. And founders, can you stop just asking ChatGPT to write your website? Stop now. Stepping away from the soapbox.
Go back to yesterday's podcast, and we told you how to do that a little better. If you missed it, it's right there for you.
Yes, please. Yes, please. So, Andy, what do you see, or what are you learning perhaps from other industries outside of B2B tech that we consistently kind of get wrong on the tech side?
Oh, I think there's a certain UX and kind of design elements and copywriting things that are common across the board. I mean, visitors don't have two different brains depending on what website they're on. So things like visual hierarchy and clarity. Here's a classic example. Not always, but almost always, the homepage is one of the top pages on the site. Almost always, visitors do not scroll on homepages. I put a whole bunch of homepages into Hotjar and made a composite scroll heat map and showed that, like, in that data set, 75% of homepage visitors weren't scrolling at all. They were going straight to the navigation. So to prioritize above the fold homepage content, let's ask this question. Does it pass the 5-second test? Can a visitor tell at a glance what you do? Does the homepage headline, if I asked you what you do and you read to me your homepage headline, would I know what you do, or would I have to keep asking you more questions? What if I looked at your main navigation? Do the navigation labels just say, who we are, what we do, or services, or blog contact? Is it specific at all? Specificity correlates with conversion. So making everything more descriptive and specific so that at a glance, the visitor and the search engine, of course, can tell what you do. Huge benefit, yet a giant percentage of websites don't have a descriptive homepage headline.
And I see a lot of people focusing on value, which is great, but not actually describing how they solve or provide that value. So I was on a website the other day, and this is very common. So if you're guilty, I'm probably not talking about your company. Went to the website, it says, increase sales with AI. And then it had this like stock image and then a bunch of tiny text that I couldn't really read without zooming way in. I can't tell what they do from that headline. And I see that so much with, it's either all about the value or we're using techno babble that sounded good in a boardroom. Did it?
Does not make sense to the visitor. Doesn't make sense to the main audience, right? The actual visitor.
Yeah.
I once had some research done. I hired like a VA to go look at 500 websites. And I published a piece about like web design standards and like what these sites do and don't do. Only 58% in this data set had descriptive homepage headers. In other words, almost half of these websites fail the backyard barbecue test. I met you at a barbecue. I ask you what you do. You read your homepage headline. I'm confused. So that one is an obvious thing. If you go down the page, actually, other pet peeves of mine are the subheads, where people just say things that are super vague. Very common to have a big subhead that says like our services, and then very small, the specific thing. Why write vague subheads and tiny descriptive text below it? Flip that. Make the big thing the descriptive thing. The entire page. Like pan out, stand back, look at the whole page, read every word. What is the most compelling thing on this page? Any page. What is the most specific, descriptive, strongest, most intriguing or most compelling combination of words on this page? Question 2, is that also the most visually prominent thing on the page? Is the largest or the highest or the biggest thing on the page? The job is to align. Web design comes down to this. You're creating a visual hierarchy where each element in the hierarchy more or less aligns with this visitor's information needs. That's your job, is to control the eye as it flows down the page. The farther down they go, the more descriptive and the more clarity and persuasion they're getting. So that's there are tons of sites that have big vague things And then if you dig deep, like it's like a carousel at the bottom, and the fourth slide is a testimonial that has like some amazing quote. That should have been at the top.
I was just going to ask whether or not you feel the same way about carousels in the header. I suspect we may be on the same page here.
The data is clear. There's a funny joke about this. This is not, I wasn't the first to say this. The homepage slideshow was invented to keep people from stabbing each other in conference rooms. It's a political solution to a debate between people inside a company. It was never for visitors. Marketing's about making decisions, right? It's like, we're going to make some tough choices here. Pick the one thing that they need to see at that depth, show it. The next most important thing is in the next page block. The next most important thing is in the next page block. So when someone from like HR says, where are my pixels? I want to be in the, let's make a carousel. You got to argue, you got to fight against that. Just go look at the data. Go see what the click-through rate is on that, the call to action on the third slide. It's 0 or very close to it.
Yeah. Other things I see a lot are very in-depth, lengthy animations that go through every single feature instead of focusing on what people don't realize is they're killing their page speed, and that kills your SEO ratings.
There's so many things wrong with it too. It's just not visitor focused. It's not search friendly. It's another test. Just scroll down and ask yourself, do 100% of my visitors know what this means? Do 100% of my visitors know what this means? I was this morning, I was talking to a company it's like an auction website. Mm-hmm. And it says like auction ends on Thursday. I'm like, well, when on Thursday? If I want to bid, am I the last bid? When is this thing? When's the cutoff? And I asked them, I'm like, oh, there's a 30-minute rule. What? Yeah, look, the link, it says 30-minute rule. Like, what does that mean? Oh, and then they explain it to me. I'm like, okay, maybe that link should, yeah, how it works. Like, it's really, 100% of your visitors should know what that means. That navigation label, 100% of your visitors should know what they get if they click, right? The call to action. The words on the next page should align with the call to action. If it's a schedule on the CTA, the page should say schedule, so they know what they're getting. You want to follow that intent with them as they go. So, fortunately, Camilla, all these problems are minutes to solve.
Yeah,
free. You can change them. It costs nothing to improve the copy on these pages. You just crack open WordPress.
Absolutely, or whatever you're using. So a couple of days ago, we talked about why it was so important to talk directly to your customers, or at least listen or read the transcripts. I think, though, that to improve website copy, yes, you should do that, absolutely. But you can also take a step back and say, what are the things that I want to know when I first go to a website? One, I want to know if it does what I need it to do. And two, I want to know whether or not it really does what I need it to do by hearing from people who've actually used it. So if we could just spend a little bit of time on customer evidence and what good customer evidence looks like, and maybe some things to stay away from.
Sure. Most web pages are giant piles of unsupported claims. That's the hard way to say it. That's the tough love, true message for most of us. Just scan down your pages and ask if, how many of these marketing claims have support behind them. Most sites have very little. There's nothing. It's only in that same data set, only 28% of the companies we looked at had any evidence on their pages. So social proof is like testimonials and reviews, and they're magical because they make the audience themselves the messenger. Every message is a messenger. People don't think about that sometimes, but that's what's happening. If you put quotes around something and a company name and a person next to it, you change the messenger to that person. Now it's much more believable. Quotes are for sure the most powerful key on your keyboard. Put anything inside quotes and it feels more legit. So yes, add testimonials and social proof. If you go to Amazon and analyze an example page, 50% of the pixels are social proof. They know what they're doing. That site is extremely well optimized. So the idea is to not make any unsupported marketing claims. And one of the most powerful supportive evidence is just the testimonial or case study or review or success story. And these should be very prominent on the page. The case study, one of the problems with case studies is that people just name the case study after the brand. It's like, case study, Orbit Media Studios, No, the name of the case study should be also evidence. Case study, 40% increase in search traffic. That's a better name for a case study because I can get value from it even if I scan past and don't click. It's like a game I play. Someone asked me to look at their website. This happens every day. And I go look at and it's like I go to the case studies and I click, and they're often PDFs, which I don't like because it doesn't show up in analytics.
I
But I
think
go
you
deep
called
down.
those the rust of the internet the other day, and I just fell off my chair.
PDFs are the rust of the internet. People, your site is old. It's so hard to manage. It's easier to just upload a PDF. Something's wrong with your CMS, or why'd you do that? What's the case for the PDF? I don't know. It's like it's a perfectly fine alternate format for what's also on an HTML page. In any case, deep down inside people's case studies is often where you find that nugget, that perfect magical combination of words, the quote, or that data point. That should not be buried at the bottom of a PDF.
No.
What percentage of visitors see that? You want the
Oh,
majority of visitors to see your strongest proof points.
it drives me crazy. And I've advised a lot of clients, like, you have these great stats, put them at the top in bold, circle them,
Put
then
them at
put
the
the
top.
quote from the person.
Yep.
Because like you said, I think it goes back to like why email is in so much trouble now as we abused it. And stats ROI is in trouble now because we abused
A
it.
common question after this is like, well, where am I going to get those testimonials? And my best answer for that is your business should have a process where you call and close the loop and ask for feedback on what you did.
Absolutely.
X%, I'm not going to make up a number. I'll say X% of those people love you and they will be happy. And when you hear that gushing, review and gratitude, that's the moment when you ask for the testimonial. And some will say yes, some will say no, no problem. Either way, no pressure. But there are people who would love to be an advocate for the brand. And you got that from them because you have, a built-in process where you measure your net promoter score. You just follow up with every client. It's also the call where you ask for referrals. So no, companies that struggle to gather testimonials frequently don't have a process for getting feedback from their clients.
So some other things you mentioned, clear navigation. I actually do like the full pane navigation where you can add a descriptor if necessary. The one word should really be enough, but sometimes people want more. And then clear CTAs. People like to know where they're clicking. They don't like just the arrow.
Yeah, I think if there's two things that can affect the click-through rate on a CTA, one is to make it sound easier, download now or get the guide instantly or schedule a demo within 24 hours. The other thing is to make it sound more valuable. So, talk to a conversion optimization expert. So people click on things after they've done a split-second ROI calculation in their brain and concluded that the benefit exceeds the cost. So you can improve click-through rates by increasing the perceived benefit or reducing the perceived cost. It's that simple. Look at your CTAs and ask if you made the benefit sound big or the cost seem small. You can, if it just says contact us or schedule now, it's not working hard enough for you. You need to add more specificity to manipulate in the mind of the visitor that ROI calculation.
And your get demo example, that's where I definitely want to go next, is I see a lot of people directing folks to a page with a form, no navigation, nothing else. You're giving them a very binary decision. You're not optimizing for being able to schedule right now or converse with somebody. You're not giving them another path just in case they do that ROI calculation, go, nah, I'm not ready yet.
I worry, yeah. My first concern is that the word demo is a bit ambiguous. Demo could be a video. Demo could be, a phone call. Is it a live phone? Like, what am I getting here? Does that mean I'm going to schedule a call? Like, am I going to get pitched? Or getting the demo? Is it like an explainer video? The other thing, so the page that has stripped out navigation, I understand, not for a normal visitor's experience flowing through a website, because that person's trying to browse around. They may want all kinds of different things. But for the PPC landing page.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. That's different.
It's different. Yep, I agree.
I would expect that. But if I'm going on the website and your main CTA is get a demo and I click on it because I'm like, what does that mean? Because like you said, it could mean anything, and then land in purgatory. I don't like it as much.
Yeah. The other day we talked about the GA4 path exploration. That will show you the back button activity on your demo page.
Or just closing out completely.
Yep, the drop off, it's right there. The path exploration will show you exactly how people are engaging with that page.
So is there anything else that pops to mind when we talk B2B websites?
Well,
blogs.
Some sites, yeah. I mean, a lot of sites looks like kind of a neutron bomb went off and all the people are gone. I think every page should have people, faces, different people. Oh, it's really hard to differentiate. Well, your team is different. You're the only company with those people. Why don't you put the people on the page? It adds warmth and life and humanity. It does half the job of what a testimonial does without even any permission from a client. You just put your people on there, make a stand, make a statement. So that's one of the big differences. I think that there's the modern design trends should create a clean, simple flow where don't just think about the visual hierarchy of the entire page, but every scroll depth has its own visual hierarchy. So scroll down to any depth on any page and ask yourself if you've made a decision about what should be the most important thing at that scroll depth. Is it also the most compelling thing at that scroll depth? We already had the mini rant about carousels and slideshows, CTAs. There are we complained for a minute about PDFs, we call them the rust of the internet.
I was picturing for every PDF you upload, a car door falls off its hinges.
Yeah, I mean, there is a time and a place for it, but if you made that, if the PDF is the only version of that thing, that text, that copy, or that statement, that PDF goes viral, you'll never know. You don't get any analytics on it. It's just not built for, it's not what the internet is. A PDF is a print simulation. So I understand the utility, but it should not be the main, the primary version of whatever that content is.
I think people really overestimate what bar people are at to give their email over. I think a case study, I'm probably not motivated enough. I'm going to go to G2 or some other review site to do that. I think it's just smarter to put it on an ungated web page as well.
Yeah. I think it's, I'm known for never having gated anything in my career. I have like 1 million visitors a year, and I rank for all my most important phrases. I generate 900 leads a year without any advertising. I am crushing all my goals. No gate. How did I do it? Just, I'm prioritizing the visitor's experience. I'm not saying gates are bad, and I may try them later, and I encourage anyone to try anything because maybe it'll work. But it's certainly not necessary to put your stuff behind a gate. I mean, people want to give me their email address, they certainly can. They can subscribe. There's a CTA on every blog page.
I'm one of those subscribers, so I can do a little plug for you. You have really excellent content that's relevant and timely. So you just do a really great job. And speaking of which, a little bird told me you have a book out there. Would you like to plug it?
Sure. Content Chemistry is it's in its 6th edition. I have to keep writing this book over and over. It's been updated recently, and it is all of my best. It covers influencer marketing, blogging, social media, email marketing, content strategy, as well as the core pages, the conversion optimization, keyword research, analytics. So this is, I've done, 24 years of digital marketing, and it's everything I've learned, all my best techniques described in a step-by-step process between 2 covers.
And I will say it certainly helped. Your content has helped me hit the ground running. And thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for being here.
Oh, this was so fun.
So those of you listening, thanks so much for tuning in. Tell 2 friends, help us out. Give us a like, a share, a subscribe, a download. We appreciate everything. And for those of you looking for more great content like this, check out calibermind.com.